Muy buenas chicos, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estáis? Bienvenidos a Brewer Factory. Hoy estamos en la TEXTIL, en la calle Caspe, en Barcelona. Un sitio brutal para todo aquel amante de la cerveza artesana. Es un craft beer pub, un restaurante, una sala de música. Es que vais a alucinar, en cuanto se abra, lo peta. Hoy hemos entrevistado a Brian. La verdad es que él habla inglés y por lo tanto hemos recurrido a Josefina, una amiga nuestra del canal, que es quien va a hacer las entrevistas en inglés de momento, para que podáis entender mejor, con más esencia, todo lo que nos quieren transmitir pues, las personas que hay detrás de este magnífico proyecto. Como siempre decimos, y lo digo ahora porque no sé si después habrá tiempo, con cerveza no hay tristeza. ¡Hasta otra!
So thank you, Manu. Thank you, Brian, for being with us. We love your beer, but we want to know more about you. So tell us about your background.
Thanks. Okay, background in general, it's kind of hard to know where to start, but thank you very much for your interest in the beer. It's always nice when you start something and you're not sure, you think you're doing things well, that people show interest. So it's good to have that reinforcement, so thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
I don't know, I think most brewers, craft brewers, have a kind of a strange trajectory to finding their way into brewing. But I've done a lot of different things in my life, but my interest is in making things and figuring out how to do them better and better and better. And somewhere along the way, I stumbled into craft brewing back in about 2005. And then I just kept studying, kept being ambitious about it until it was time to try to do it commercially. And yeah, I've done a lot of different things.
Okay, so how did you get to brew beer? Because I think you once told me you used to be a literature teacher or something like that.
The very first beer I ever brewed, I was living in Kyoto, Japan, and I was teaching English there. And I just wanted to figure out how to make beer, and I looked all over the city to try to find somewhere that had brewing supplies. And I finally found this shop in Osaka that sold some brewing kit, and I made a stout, and it ended up, I made it in my kitchen, of course, and as it started fermenting, I knew nothing about what was happening, and as it started fermenting, it blew up and went all over my kitchen floor, salvaged it, still drank it.
So that was your first time?
That was the first beer. I said 2005 because that was in 2001.
Okay.
But there was a little break between then and getting serious about it.
So then you got here to Barcelona and you started with this amazing project?
I guess this is too long of a story, but I guess I could say that the last place that I was living was Saudi Arabia. And when I was in Saudi Arabia, when you're a foreigner there and you want to enjoy the finer things, alcoholic beverages, you have to make them yourself. And so when I was there, I was making a lot of spirits and beer. And I started making them on a scale that I thought, okay, I think I'm ready to do this seriously now. And during that time, I would live in the summertime in Missoula, Montana, which is a great place for craft beer in the US. And I kind of internshiped at a brewery there called Imagination Brewing. They do great hazy IPAs. The brewer there, Robert, is a great guy. So I kind of got my bigger brewery experience there, and then came here and just went for this project. It started very slowly though. I came here in August of 2017 and just started meeting people, going to every craft beer place I could find and just talking to people.
And how did you came up with this? Because there's a lot going on here. Like, I know the furniture, you work with local suppliers, you have some music project going on, the restaurant, the beer, I believe you also have whiskeys.
Yeah.
So
first of all, this brings my disclaimer for my apologies for not speaking Spanish right now. But it's related to the fact that since I've lived in a lot of different places around the world, I've lived in Asia, Middle East, Africa, South America, Europe. I know that when you're a foreigner coming to a place, what you should do is try to integrate yourself. And so I didn't want to be the guiri starting a project in Barcelona, and so I just tried to meet as many people as I could and tried to work with as local people to grow this thing. But my idea originally was to brew beer, but also to create a scenario where you can do more than just drink beer, because I love going to beer festivals, and usually when there's a beer festival, you have food trucks and great food, and sometimes there'll be some music. You go to music festivals, they oftentimes have craft beer and good food, and so on. So I just that idea of having all of these things under one roof was appealing to me. I love music, I love food, and I love
You
beer.
wanted the whole package.
Yeah, and also I like the idea of making everything. So crafting everything. Not just having like which I'm no disrespect to anybody who does this, but having a craft beer place that's a sports bar, right? You're not doing the sports there. You're watching. It's TV coming in, right? Whereas you can make beer and then you're making music. And then with the food concept as well. Try to have as, I like this idea of localism and, sourcing ingredients from a very small radius and, trying to make as many things as possible to reduce packaging, to have less of an impact on the environment, so to be more ecological.
So like you have your own ketchup, for example? Or...
Yes. Yeah, I mean, look, there is a point where it's sort of impractical to make everything, but it's a goal then to make everything
more sustainable.
Yeah, well, yeah, but sustainability also has to have economic sustainability. So I know that in kitchens sometimes they say, hey, we're making our own pasta. But then they do the costing and it's like, well, the number of hours, and then they compare it and it just doesn't make sense. And so you get that.
Okay.
I mean, but that's the ambition.
Yeah, of course. And tell me a little bit about your designers. You have amazing cans, and I believe you were working with two different artists.
Well, the story, there's a bit of a story behind the eventual can design. So this project has been happening for a long time, and I early on worked with one studio here in Barcelona, and the idea was they were our studio for everything, like the name, the whole brand identity. But one of the difficulties I've had with this project is because when I started it, I had no idea what I was doing or what I wanted it to be. But I was very confident that I could go along in a process and create something that I was happy with and that other people would hopefully be happy with. So I just had a hard time working with creative people early on, and it was very frustrating for them, I know, because I just couldn't find what I wanted, and it was frustrating for both of us. So eventually, I worked with another studio. From the first studio, I just got the name. That's all. And then the next studio got basically the typeset and the logo. And then after that, I started working with my girlfriend, Vane, and she took all of the ideas that we had and then what we put together and created what we have now. So sort of a mix of everything. But the concept behind the art on the cans is it goes back to my idea of supporting local people, local artists, as much as possible. And it's also kind of because I didn't want to commit really to it's a big deal when you're starting something and you don't know what the future is.
Right.
And you're thinking, well, maybe this is going to go, and in 5 years you look back and be like, whoa, that design was a bad idea. So the idea was just to create the template and have a new artist each series. And so it was a bit scary to try that because it's an unconventional approach. Although there is one brewery that I know of called Collective Arts in Canada. They kind of do that because that is their concept, Collective Arts. But I was just really lucky in that the first person that I found, Adria Cuerno Lobo, just killed it. And I mean, my experience in working with designers was our deadline was so tight that I knew that there was no way we were going to go back and forth and back and forth. So I just said, hey, dude, do what you want to do and do what will make you really proud and happy.
Well, he nailed it.
He did.
Every design, it's amazing. I don't know how you chose the final.
Look, here's another thing. I believe in transparency. Would not try to hide anything. If like our recipes, anybody wants to know our recipes, I'll tell them anything. My criteria was minimum 5,000 Instagram followers and Barcelona-based designer, preferably born and from Barcelona. And I had a list of about 20 people, and I just went through all of their stuff, and his was the one that really resonated with me the most. And that's the other thing I kind of learned through this experience is, you know, if you're choosing somebody like that that's creative, just trust them to do it, you know. And he helped reinforce that in me and helped me learn that lesson, because I was kind of nervous, but I told myself, I said, even if I don't like what he does, I'm gonna just let it go because he's happy for it. And what do I know about illustration, you know?
Right.
But the truth is actually, you know, he did want a little feedback because, like all of us, probably, you know, we're fairly confident, but we also like, is this right? Does this taste good? Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
And what about the beer? Are you already working in some new brewing?
Well, I mean, when you start a brewery, a lot of people, you know, one thing that the first thing they want to know is what's your game, what's your style, what are you trying to do? And like with everything else, I mean, I want to do a lot of different things. I don't want to be confined to a style. You know, like I have a lot of respect for like Soma, and that's hoppy beers. That's what they do, and they do it very well. You know, so I just want to brew a lot of different things because that's my interest in brewing is trying to figure out things I don't know how to do, figure out things that are difficult to do, and do them very well, and try to do them better. And then do something else. Also, I don't really have an interest in repeating the same recipe over and over and over, you know, just to try to, I mean, I like the idea of making a recipe and making something similar and working on, you know, things, you know, but in a different recipe. But the idea here is a lot of different styles. Maybe one thing that's unusual for craft breweries in Barcelona is that I plan on doing a pretty good range of lager beers. I think on average in the tap room we would have maybe 4 lagers on tap, always. So that's one of the things I want to do. And I also want to do a lot of comparative batches. So as a brewer, that is a really, I personally, one of the reasons that I do this is I'm a learner, so I want to learn. And one of the best ways to learn in brewing is to take a batch and split it and do 2 different things to it so you can really know what's happening. You know, because we as brewers, like, you know, we know about dry hopping and the effect, but we can always learn more about, you know, like what time are we dry hopping and what rate and all that. So split batches. We'll brew big hoppy beers, but also a lot of drinkable beers from 4.5 to 5.5%.
What's your favorite style? Or maybe it's a hard question.
I don't really have a favorite style. I mean, I mean, I like New England IPAs, to be honest. I'm embarrassed to admit that, though, because everybody likes them. But nah, I mean, maybe more relevant would be my favorite beer of ours right now. I think is El Nota.
El Nota.
Yeah. I had never brewed a Gosa before, and so that was kind of fun to do. And it was this beer was it was a long process, and it was a back and forth between Ian and I. Sometimes I was gone, and he was doing part of the process, and vice versa. And But I'm happy that it's a refreshing beer, and I like the it's a unique beer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in love with Osito.
Thank you, thank you.
And I think we all want to know, when are you going to open to the public?
I used to have dates, you know, like we're gonna do it on this day, but soon we will open the terrace.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the thing is with this project being so big, having the live music venue downstairs, which we're still working on licensing and details with all that.
Okay.
The bar in the front, the restaurant that seats about 100 people, and the brewery. Slowly, I've come to learn that it's just a huge thing that I don't really want to manage all at the same time. And COVID, to be honest, has been a blessing. I know it's been a curse for a lot of people, and it's been a curse for the industry, and I feel bad for everybody in that. But for me and for us, it's actually, just looking at the positive side of things, it's forced me to focus just on the beer, and it's also made me realize that this is the way for this project to evolve. It's not just to try to splash down and like, boom, we're doing everything all at once. It's kind of to grow into things. And so that's the approach that I'm going to take now. So the beer, we've got beer productions well sorted. I'm pretty satisfied with our level of production and our workflow, the way Ian and I are working together. And then very soon we'll start opening the terrace, but not for like meal service, restaurant meal service, because I just don't think we're quite ready for that yet. We're going to open sort of like as a beer garden, and with some snacks and finger foods and things like that.
So step by step?
Shortly after May 10th, the new date as of today. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
We are all hoping.
Am I supposed to say it's today?
I don't know.
Is this like a time capsule?
Yeah, we're hoping.
Yeah.
And so these are like the next steps.
Next step is
the terrace and music for now.
Music is way on the back burner, but that space.
But you have an amazing space, so.
Thanks. Yeah. I don't know if it's the band Dorian was here using it as a rehearsal space this week, which is really cool. I think we'll have some content for our Instagram to put up at the appropriate time. But I'm excited for the terrace because you know. This is the thing about craft brewing and beer is that, you know, really, and this is why I got into it, is because I learned when I started doing this as a hobby. I don't know what hobbies you might have, you know, maybe playing guitar or piano or something.
Yeah.
But I realized very quickly that this hobby was a beautiful thing because you could make something and then make other people happy with it. And so that's really the purpose is, you can make the greatest beer in the world, but if you don't have an audience that wants to drink it or appreciates it, then it doesn't mean anything, you know, other than in your own mind. So for me, yeah, I'm looking forward to opening the terrace and for having people try these beers and get, you know, feedback, you know.
Exactly.
What do you think? And you know, I like to hear. Yeah, all kinds of feedback about the beer, and that's why we do it.
Right.
Is to help people enjoy and have a good time.
Okay, well, I want to be the first one to know when you open.
You guys are pretty close. So yeah.
So yeah, thank you for your time. I don't know if you have anything else to share, but it's been amazing. So thank you so much, and you have an amazing place. The beer is, well, I have tried everything and I've liked everything. Well, so
thanks.
Nothing. Thank you.
Well, we're working on it. So we'll always try to get better. So no, but thank you for the interest. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Cool. Cheers. Salud.
Salud.
All right. Next time I'll interview in Spanish.
Okay, that's gonna be great.